Oh, no. Shoot. Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. I thought I was having some audio problems. Apologize for that. I am so sorry. I was just not able to find the link. So we can get started and start the meeting at 6:05. Okay, so do we have all the commissioners available now?
Yes, everyone is present, so we can go ahead.
Okay, should we start with the roll call?
Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, sorry about that. Commissioner Corona, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so then do we move on to roll call?
Yes. Commissioner David Huboy,
Here.
Commissioner Kevin Henderson,
Here.
Commissioner Luke Corona,
Here.
and Chairperson Roxanne Stevens.
Here.
Thank you.
Can we get a verification of the agenda posting?
Yes, the agenda for the February 24th, 2022 regular planning commission was posted on Friday, February 18th, 2022 at 4:55 p.m.
Okay, great. Thank you. So let's move on to approval of minutes from our January 27th meeting. Did everybody get a chance to review it? And are there any questions or any changes needed? Okay, so I didn't hear anything, so I'm gonna move on with a vote. So can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make the motion, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Should we do a roll call vote?
Oh, roll call, please.
Okay, let's do a roll call vote for approval of the minutes.
Okay, great. Commissioner David Huboy,
Yes.
Commissioner Luke Corona,
Yes.
Commissioner Kevin Henderson,
Yes.
and Chairperson Roxanne Stevens.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carries 4-0.
Okay, so let's start with public comment section. This will be the time for anybody to make a comment about any item that is not on today's agenda. Do we have anybody in the audience in person or virtually that wants to speak?
I have one person with a raised hand in the virtual audience. That's Lynn Overtree. I'm going to go ahead and allow you permission to mute and unmute yourself. Lynn?
And Lynn,
Hi.
just remember that you have 3 minutes.
Yes, it won't take me that long. Can you hear me
Thank
okay?
you. Yes.
Yes, okay. So I'm Lynn Overtree. I'm the Executive Director for the San Benito Agricultural Land Trust. And this actually has to do with both of your items on the agenda, but I just simply wanted to say that we've worked with some of the proponents of the projects and are happy to work with the city to mitigate for any loss of prime agricultural farmland in the process of doing these subdivisions. So we look forward to that. And I just wanted to be available if you guys have any questions about the role that we play.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other people that are interested in making a comment at this time?
I have no other hands raised, and I have no one from the audience with a speaker card.
Okay, so let's end the public comments, public input section, and let's move on to our first item on the agenda. First item on the agenda is tentative map 2021-4, conditional use permit 2022-1 for a planned unit development. Should I read the whole description or should we just get started with this item?
It's preferable to read the entire description unless that's
Okay.
included in the staff report.
Okay, so PAD Investment Trust et al. The applicant is requesting a vesting tentative map and conditional use permit for a planned unit development approval to subdivide 13.79 acres into 95 lots. The subdivision will create 92 new residential single-family detached lots, a parcel to be dedicated for public park space, a parcel for stormwater treatment, and a remainder lot with an existing home that will remain. The property has a general plan designation of low-density residential and is within the low-density residential performance overlay R1-L/PZ zoning district. Site and architectural review is not part of the application. The project is located between North Chappelle Road and Highway 25 bypass, north of Primavera Drive, further identified as San Benito County Assessor Parcel Number 019-035-012. CEQA Environmental Impact Report previously prepared.
Thank you. For item 1, I'm actually going to introduce and then turn over the item presentation to our consulting planner from Kimley Horn, Tad Stern. And Tad and his team have been assisting us with actually both items on the agenda tonight. Tad?
Thanks, Eva. Chair Stevens and planning commissioners, good evening. Tad Stern with Kimley Horn. The presentation is going to be somewhat brief tonight because this item has been continued at the request of the applicant to a date uncertain, just pending the resolution of the language of several of the conditions of approval that staff is recommending with the project. So basically, we are in the process of putting together the staff report and the conditions, and the conditions made their way to the applicant who reviewed the draft conditions and had questions and concerns and wanted to discuss the conditions in additional detail before moving forward. So at the commission's, if it's your pleasure, we can give a little bit more background about that before just continuing the item. I'm happy to just give a brief overview of the background about what has led us to here and led us to the continuance, if you like.
Sure.
Okay. So for background, this project, this proposed subdivision is in the Chapel Road Master Plan area that's been recognized by the City Council for more coordinated planning for several of the large projects within this area that was recently annexed into the city. And just for background, because of the master plan and almost the simultaneous processing of several of the properties in the master plan area, staff wanted to ensure that some of the common facilities and infrastructure, like planned roadway improvements, water, sewer, and drainage systems, are implemented and coordinated and constructed in an integrated way rather than individually with each subdivision. And that was sort of the vision behind the master plan, is to coordinate the efforts there. And so to that end, the city prepared what's called the supplemental analysis to the San Felipe Road corridor study by Rick Engineering that identified a number of needed roadway improvements in this area along San Felipe Road. And I'll just pause there for a second and say, Mark Falgo is also on the line, and Eva and Mark, if anything I say is a little bit off, feel free to correct me. It happens all the time. So that study identified several improvements that were needed, regardless if they directly fronted on a particular development. And that, more importantly, the RIC engineering study, it identified the timing of these improvements. And what it said is that what the first project out of the gate, the first units to be developed, with those units, some of these improvements need to be constructed at that time. So the city went a step further and commissioned RIC Engineering to expand on their work to develop fair share cost estimates for this package of improvements, so that different developments could say, well, what is our fair share of these improvements on a per traffic trip basis, so that people know what they're responsible for. And the city has done that just in the last month or so. And that even though the fair share formula identifies responsibility, it doesn't change the timing of when the improvements are needed. And I think that's the important part. The fair share doesn't mean you're just obligated to pay your fair share. The timing of the improvements is still very important. So, and similar to the transportation studies, the city initiated an owner-funded assessment that's currently being completed by Wallace Group to assess the capacity of the water, wastewater, and drainage systems, because these systems weren't programmed into the city's infrastructure master plans. So the Wallace study, like I said, it's in process. That will also identify if additional capacity is needed in those systems, and if so, what the costs would be. And that's work that's still in progress. So we don't know what the fair share for any particular property is. So I think the issue at hand tonight is that there is some either a disagreement or misunderstanding about the responsibility to construct certain improvements associated with the subdivisions, mainly roadway improvements, versus just paying the fair share towards their construction. And so staff at the applicant's request is asking for the continuance of the item so that further conversations can be had about those conditions. So if you have any questions about that, hopefully that's clear as mud.
Thank you for that. Okay, fellow commissioners, any questions or comments?
Yeah, I had a question.
Go ahead.
This is for staff. So is this the area that's being talked about in the agenda item? Is this the same area that maybe a couple of years ago there was a kind of a master plan that covered that whole area kind of underneath the 25?
Yes.
If you remember what I'm talking about, yeah.
Yes, that's exactly right. So this item 1's parcel was identified as parcel 3, and I apologize, I don't have a map. I do have your presentation, Ted. I don't know if you had a map in that or not. But it is a little bit south of the corner, and then item 2, which we'll be talking about in a moment, is the one directly within the corner of the Highway 25 bypass, but it does include the commercial and the residential that's proposed in the master plan area.
Yeah, Eva, there is a location map in the presentation if you do want to pull it up.
Yeah, let me pull that
anytime.
Sorry, just give me a second here. Sorry, can everyone see that now? Can everyone see the screen?
I can see it. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Eva, this master plan, it went through the city council review. Is that
Yes,
My
this
understanding is
this
correct.
master plan went through the city. So after coming to the planning commission, as some of you who are here will recall, it went to the city council and it was adopted. So
Yeah.
it is a general land use kind of layout plan. It's not the exact development proposals. That's what the developers are proposing tonight. But this is the master plan area. And as Tad was mentioning, we're looking at kind of the shared utilities and shared facilities and infrastructure that are not just a part of each project, but that each project has to contribute to, such as San Felipe Road and water and those types of utilities that are going to feed this whole area.
Has there been any revisions or corrections or revisions to the land use designations? Are they still the same as when we first reviewed this master plan?
Yes, they're still zoned for North Gateway Commercial on this corner piece, which has been annexed into the city. And then all are pre-zoned or zoned for R1 low density performance overlay zone. And then this subject site for this property up to the bypass and then straight down on Chapel Road, this particular corner has been annexed into the city. Other parcels such as this one, which is B on the Chapel Road master plan, and then these parcels down here, which I believe are, I want to say E through I. I could be wrong on that, but these parcels and B are not annexed into the city at this time. They're still county properties, but they're part of this master plan area, and they are pre-zoned to be low density at this time.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the other commissioners?
Yeah, I have another question, Madam Chair, for the continuance with the Rick Engineering and the Wallace study. Do you have any idea when those studies will be completed and the prorating or the share of the improvements will be worked out?
The Wallace, part of it has been drafted. I think it'll take about another month, maybe 6-ish weeks. I don't have an exact time frame on that. And then the Rick, I would defer to Mark Falco. If you might know Mark, I haven't heard much on the status of that particular user, or not user, but fair share per unit or per, I believe, square foot for the commercial aspect. I'm not positive on the timing of that one.
Yeah, so the Rick Engineering did provide us a estimate, and it's based on number of trips that a project generates, because we have the two different land use types. So in order to make sure it's apples to apples, it's based on trips, and all the triggers for improvements are trips too. So we do have that, and it is something that we can help coordinate. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head though, or at my fingertips. So.
Okay. Any other questions or comments, commissioners? Okay, so let's open the public comments section now at 6:24. Is that right?
Yes. 1 second. I do have one hand raised in the virtual audience. That's Victor Gomez. Victor, I'm going to go ahead and allow you to speak. Oops. You should be able to mute and unmute yourself, Victor.
Yeah, great. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Excellent. Thank you, Eva. Really appreciate it. And just a huge thanks to staff, Abraham, Eva, I know have been walking through this project with us. Well, first of all, Commissioner, sorry, my name is Victor Gomez. I'm a land use consultant with Pinnacle Strategy. You're representing both of the applicants under PAD Investment, and I know we're not under Doll Properties, but I do represent them as well. And so certainly want to thank staff for all their work. It was actually 7 years ago when we submitted the pre-zone for annexation. So here we are in the 7th year trying to get these lots finally approved. And certainly want to thank Tad and his team at Kinley Horn and Mark for their work as well. We're asking for continuance of these items for a couple of reasons, but number one, I have to make a clarification. On November 23rd, we met, both applicants met with the city manager, Brett Miller, and with Development Services Interim Director, Abraham Prado. And we talked about the RIC engineering report. And we asked that the city please come through with a fair share analysis. In other words, take the commercial component in the Chapel Road Master Plan, also take each residential dwelling unit and identify the fair share contribution that each home or commercial component will pay into the improvements on San Felipe Road. We didn't fight that. We didn't say, hey, we don't have to do that, even though the EIR did not even recommend any improvements to San Felipe Road. Yet we said, okay, fine, we will pay a fair share into the San Felipe Road improvements. When we met on November 23rd with Brett Miller and Abraham Prado, we walked away from that conversation, and this comment is for Mark and Tad. We walked away saying, we are not going to construct, number one, because we have no authority to take somebody else's property. So we're not going to construct the improvements on San Felipe Road because we have no authority as a private citizen. I cannot go to Kevin's house. I cannot go to Councilmember Huboy's house, Commissioner Huboy, Commissioner Corona, or Commissioner Stevens and say, hey, I'm going to take your front yard from you. Too bad. No, I can't do that. But government does have the ability to do that. So these improvements cannot be led by a developer, though the RIC engineering report does say that these items need to be constructed at certain triggers. That effort needs to be led by the city, not us. So we're happy to pay into that RIC engineering report. We're happy to pay and contribute for the city to lead that effort. But the conditions of approval do need to be modified and adjusted to reflect that we are paying a fair share contribution, not that we are building those improvements. So we look forward to meeting with city staff, fixing those issues, and hopefully bringing back these improvements, the revised resolutions next month. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. Any other comments?
I have no more hands raised, and I don't have any speaker cards from the audience here in the chamber. So thank you.
Okay. Okay, so fellow commissioners, any other, well, let's close the public comment section of the meeting at 6:28. And any further discussion from the commissioners? How do you want to proceed? Any other questions?
I don't have any comments. I believe that this item is subject to a vote for the continuance.
Right. So if we're ready to move forward on that, somebody would like to make a motion on the continuance?
I'll make the motion to continue the item.
Okay, I'll second it. And then I think we need to proceed on a roll call vote.
Does it need to be to a date uncertain? Do we need to say that?
Yes, I would.
I'll amend my motion to include a date uncertain at this time.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
And then we can do a roll call vote. Yes. Commissioner David Huboy.
Yes.
Commissioner Luke Corona. You're muted.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Kevin Henderson
Yes.
and Chairperson Roxanne Stevens.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, thank you. So let's move on to item number 2. Tentative map 2021-5, conditional use permit 2022-2 for a planned unit development, DAL Properties, LLC dash, the applicant is requesting a vesting tentative map and conditional use permit for a planned unit development approval to subdivide 18.24 acres into 91 total lots, including 74 single-family lots, 16 duet lots, plus a park dedicated lot. The property has a general plan designation of low density residential and is within the low density residential performance overlay, RI-L/PZ zoning district. Site and architectural review is not part of the application. The project is located along the east side of North Chappelle Road, south of Highway 25 bypass, further identified as San Benito County Assessor Parcel Number 019-170-084 and a portion of 019-170-089 CEQA environmental impact report previously prepared. Okay, so staff, your report.
Yes, thank you, Chairperson. I will also turn this one over to Todd Stern from Kimley Horn, who's been assisting us with the DAL tentative map 2021-5.
Thanks, Eva. Chair and Planning Commissioners, hello again. This subdivision is also called Kramer Commons with its most current name. In terms of this subdivision, which is just to the north of the first item, some of the issues from the applicant are the same in terms of the timing of the improvements and fair share versus construction. However, the difference on this is actually staff recommended the continuance on this particular item as we were going through the review process and final review of the subdivision and the conditions. Both planning and engineering staff continue to be concerned with some specific design issues related to the location of a PG&E gas main and also the location of some lots relative to Highway 25 and some concerns over future noise levels at some of those lots. And so staff's draft conditions allowed these items to be resolved following the tentative map, but also came with a caution that to resolve some of those issues, it could result in further design changes to the subdivision that may need additional review and maybe even additional review by the Planning Commission. So for those reasons, even though we're getting close to the finish line on that review, there were these lingering concerns that we felt is more important to resolve those and have a very solid project to move forward with before the commission takes action on the item. And that concludes the staff report on that item, unless you would like to see the map again or have any questions.
Okay, fellow commissioners, any questions or comments? Okay, not hearing any. So thank you, Mr. Stern. And let's open up public comment. It's 6:33, so we'll open it at 6:33.
Great, thank you. I do have one hand raised in the virtual audience, and that is Victor Gomez. I'm going to go ahead and give you permission. Victor, go ahead.
Awesome. Thank you, Eva. Just as a follow-up to my comments on the previous item, the applicants on both of these vesting tentative maps have not received what that fair share contribution of the San Felipe Road improvements are. I think that the Rick Engineering report and those items should be disclosed to the applicant. So we are requesting that information be shared with us as soon as possible, so we could wrap that into to our forecasting. And then, yeah, we certainly look forward to working with staff on those other related issues on the Dahl Properties map as well. So thank you again, staff, and we look forward to reconvening with you here soon and addressing all these items and the conditions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gomez. Any other person wanting to speak in person or virtually?
I have no other hand raised, and I have no speaker cards from the audience here in the chambers.
Okay, so we'll close public comment on that item at 6:35. Any questions or comments from my fellow commissioners? So I'll just make the little question or comment about the comment from Mr. Gomez about the engineering report. So can we just get a commitment from staff to make sure that they get that?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, and can you give an estimated time when you can expect it?
If we have it in engineering, we can get it likely tomorrow, but I just have to confirm that we have the whole report.
Okay, great. Okay, so let's just say maybe within a week. And then the applicant can follow up if they don't receive it. Any questions, comments from my other commissioners? Okay, I'm not hearing any. So should we move forward then with a motion and a vote?
Madam Chair, I'll make the motion to continue the item to a date uncertain.
Okay,
I'll
Second.
second it.
okay, thank you, Commissioner Henderson. Okay, so let's proceed with the roll call vote.
Certainly. Commissioner David Huboy,
Yes.
Commissioner Luke Corona,
Yes.
Commissioner Kevin Henderson,
Yes.
Chairperson Roxanne Stevens.
Yes.
Great, thank you. The motion to continue carries 4-0.
Okay, thank you, Eva. Okay, so let's move on with any new business. Is there any new business to report?
There is no new business.
Okay, any old business to report?
No old business.
No old business. Okay, any planning department reports?
I don't believe I have any reports. Just a reminder, I'm not sure if it's too late to register, but at least staff, myself and Amber, will be attending the Planning Commissioners Academy next month.
Great.
I don't recall receiving any information on that academy.
We didn't send anything. I just announced it at the last Planning Commission meeting. I can forward you all a link, and I'm sure registration is still open, but I'm not going to say that with 100% certainty.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Commissioner Huboy, you can get it on the League of Cities website, and you might check your emails too, because we should have all gotten an announcement of that. And I am unfortunately unable to attend because of a conflict, but I do believe that the registration is still open.
I think I recall getting an email from the League of Cities today.
Okay. Any other reports from Planning Department?
I have no other reports.
Okay, thank you, Eva. Any planning commissioners have anything to report? Okay, not hearing anything. So I think we are ready to proceed to adjourn. Unless there's anything else, any last thoughts that anybody has? Okay, then can I get a motion to adjourn? We'll adjourn at 6:38. Well, let's do that after the vote.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. I'll second. Roll call vote.
Yeah. Commissioner David Huboy,
Yes.
Commissioner Luke Corona,
Yes.
Commissioner Kevin Henderson,
Yes.
Chairperson Roxanne Stevens.
Yes.
Okay, the motion to adjourn at 6:39 p.m. Passes 4-0.
Okay. Okay. Good night, everyone. See you next month.
Good night.
Thank
Good
you
night.
all.
Seeing you
Thank
again.
you.
Good night, everyone.